Hello everyone, my name is SaloniVerma. Today, I will be talking about an economic issue that I believe is one of the most critical yet often overlooked challenges for India's growth story. Its heavy dependence on the imported crude oil and how this dependence impacts inflation and the economic stability. When we usually think about inflation in India, we tend to blame rising prices or supply shortages. But in my view, one of the underlying drivers is something much deeper, our structural dependence on external energy sources. India imports nearly 85% of its crude oil requirement. This seems is a large part of our economy is indirectly controlled by global oil prices, which we have very little influence over. So, whenever oil prices rises globally, the impact is very much immediate. Fuel becomes expensive, transportation costs increase, and eventually almost everything from the vegetables to the manufactured goods becomes very much costlier. In that sense, inflation in India is not always domestic, it is often imported. This is not a new problem. If we go back to the 1973 oil crisis, oil importing countries like India faced severe economic stress due to sudden spike in the global prices. Even after the economic reforms of 1991, while India successfully accelerated its growth, it did not significantly reduce its dependence on the imported energy. In my opinion, this shows that while we focused on growth, we did not equally prioritize energy security. What makes this issue even more important today is the current geopolitical environment. Ongoing tensions in the Middle East have disrupted oil supply chains and pushed prices upwards. For a country like India, this creates a double challenging rising inflation and pressure on the currency. This clearly shows how global events, even those beyond our borders, can directly influence our domestic economy. In my view, solving this issue requires a phased and a realistic approach. In the short term, the focus should be on managing impact through strategic oil reserves and better tax rationalization to control the inflation. In the medium term, India needs to actively reduce oil consumption. This can be done by promoting electric vehicles, improving public transport systems, and increasing energy efficiency across the industries. However, the real solution lies in the long run. India must invest heavily in the renewable energy sources like solar and wind. At the same time, diversifying import sources and boosting domestic energy production can reduce the risk. I believe the goal is not to be complete independence immediately, but the gradual reduction in the vulnerability. However, there are significant challenges in the implementing these solutions. Transitioning to renewable energy requires large scale investment and infrastructure development. Policy execution can often be slow, and technological limitations still exist. Additionally, given the scale of the India's energy needs, completely eliminating oil dependence in the near future is not so realistic. So the challenge is not the elimination, effective management. In the next 2 years, policy measures can help stabilize inflation. Over the next 3 to 5 years, behavioral and technological shift can reduce the oil demand. And in the long run, over the next decade, India can move towards the greater energy security. To conclude this, I believe that India's growth story cannot be truly sustainable unless it addresses this hidden vulnerability. Oil dependence is not just an energy issue, it's a fundamental economic challenge that will shape the India's future stability. Thank you.